Hello everybody, Matthew Moniz here, and I hope you're having a fantastic day because I got some good news. I'm pregnant. No, I'm kidding, I'm not pregnant, but I do have an Acer Nitro 5 laptop in the studio, and this is a retail version, okay? It's the one with the AMD processor. It's the one with the RTX 3070 that you guys have been waiting for me to review. And look, if you're expecting a big redesign change, that's not happening this year. It's still using a plastic build. It is a little bit toned down compared to previous years, and all you have is a black lid with the Acer logo in the middle. Now, this is not as light as some of the more expensive laptops out on the market. You're still just under 5 pounds, but I still think it's very reasonable in terms of how it feels in your bag if you plan on taking this to school or work. The Nitro 5 is also stacked with a lot of ports. For example, on the left-hand side, you have your RJ45, 2 USB ports, your audio jack, and then on the right-hand side, you have a full-size HDMI, USB, and USB Type-C, obviously not Thunderbolt since this is AMD. But the one thing that I love that Acer did was they removed the power connector from the side of the laptop to the back. I think they did this last year, but having your power connector at the back does not get in the way of your hand when you're moving your mouse. Hello, this is Matt's grandma, Olga. I just bought a new plant, and my KD ratio in Warzone is 5. Please like and subscribe. The other thing I want to mention is fingerprints. Because this is a black build, you can see already have some fingerprints on the top of the device. You can open it up with one hand if you want to be super fancy with your friends, but they're still using the same keyboard. I used to really dig this keyboard, but keyboard improvements have come out every single year with various types of laptops. It's fine, you know, and it's fine for this price point, but I think Acer is kind of overdue for a keyboard update. You still have that numpad on the right-hand side. There's 4 zones of RGB that you can configure to whatever you want. Siri, don't do this. Oh my God, I have an Irish Siri. And the key travel is nice and comfortable. Now, I did notice a couple of things, okay? One, the brightness is weird, okay? Like when I hit function arrow to bring the brightness up or down, there's like a massive lag. Like I have to press it, wait a second, and then press it again, wait a second, and it's kind of frustrating. The other thing is the touchpad, you know? It's an okay touchpad. It's made out of plastic. It is using Windows Precision. Most people are probably not gonna use this, but every so often, like I'll touch the cursor and it'll take a second for it to start. Like if I walk away from the computer, come back, I'll move my fingers around the cursor, it won't move, then I have to touch it again. So a couple of inconveniences that you have to be made aware of, but I don't think they're deal breakers. Now this is the second laptop in 2 days that I've reviewed where the NVIDIA sticker is in pristine location. The AMD guy, just like the Intel guy, does not care about his job, okay? He thinks he's too good. He thinks he's too good for this industry. So he comes in, he slaps on the sticker crooked, and takes off before lunchtime. Now the most important update for this laptop is definitely the display. If you don't remember a few years ago, the Nitro lineup didn't have the most color accurate displays. Well, this year, Acer went all out. Not only did they provide a color accurate panel with good color gamut, they also increased it to a QHD panel. Like this display looks so much better than the previous Nitro 5 from last year. The only downfall to it is the brightness. It's not the most bright panel, like it gets up to 314 nits, which is pretty much below the average these days. But if you're leaving this in your room and you're only using it in a setting where you're not outdoors, then you'll be fine. So the top webcam is still 720p. It looks exactly the same as the webcam they used in the Acer Nitro 5 from 55 years ago. Now performance on this has been exciting, right? Like you can get this now with a 5800H Ryzen 7 processor, that Zen 3, with an RTX 3070 that can boost up to 95 watts, 16 gigabytes of RAM, expandable to 32, that 15-inch QHD display, and of course you get a big beefy 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. Now, performance on this compared to other 5800Hs, when we're talking strictly CPU, it's about 5 to 10% less. Now this is not a big deal considering the price point of this laptop, and when I talk about it a little bit later, you'll see why it's okay. When it comes to actual gaming, 1080p performance is fantastic. You get fantastic frame rates when you're playing all the latest titles. Even QHD gaming is doable on this laptop. It's a great experience playing some of my favorite games and getting high frame rates. Yes, it can get loud if you put on max fans and you turn on cool boost, and you will get slightly better performance, but if you just leave it on performance mode, the fans don't really kick on until after 5 to 10 minutes of gameplay. And even when they do, you hear them, but they're not as loud as the Acer Nitro 5 that I reviewed the year before. And the other thing is I usually don't recommend budget gaming laptops to content creators because the one thing that holds them back is the display. But because this display is a lot more color accurate this year, you can do both with no problem. Now in terms of heat management, the CPU can get up to about 90 or 95 degrees if you have it on performance mode, but it doesn't make me too worried about it because you can change the profile in order to reduce its heat output. Unlike other laptops where I do see the CPU boosting up to 70 to 80 watts, this one's a bit more conservative. It stays around 45 to 50, and it does it in order to provide you a quieter and cooler experience. Internally, you have lots of stuff that you can upgrade. For example, you have 2 slots for RAM, which can be upgraded to 32 gigabytes if you need more in the future. You have 1 drive that's populated, which gets pretty decent read and write speeds. You have a second slot for a physical hard drive, and it actually comes with the brackets to install it right in the box. And there's even a third slot right over here if you want to install a third SSD. Now the one downfall to this laptop is the battery size. It's just super tiny for this type of performance. Like 48 watt hours is nothing for an H series processor. So if you leave this on the balance profile and you're running on battery, I literally got an hour and a half of a battery life. If you put it on power saver mode and you don't mind taking a huge hit to performance, then you can push this thing to 4 hours and 30 minutes. Of course, you still have that swappable Wi-Fi card, and there's still 2 speakers at the bottom of the laptop, and they're still not great. I think that's one area that Acer needs to improve on, is putting better speakers in their gaming laptops. So look, the Acer Nitro 5 is a great deal. Of course, there's a few things that are not up to snuff if you're like a hardcore enthusiast. Like, I'm sure a lot of you would have loved a higher wattage 3070, maybe at 105 watts to get slightly better performance, but I think their thermal profile based on the amount of copper heat pipes and fans they're using can only allow them so much, right? I think they offer a good balance of features for the price point that you're paying. Like if you were to buy a high-end version of this, you'd be into the 1800s and 1900s of dollars, and that could get quite costly for a more premium experience. So yeah, that's a look at the Acer Nitro 5. It gets a go for me. If you have any more questions about it, let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.